Ohio, Ohio, Ohio,
To be honest, I feel like I wasn't really thinking because, I was too busy paddling and then we were singing songs. But I was like thinking that, oh, we're almost there.
Yeah, I kept on thinking that Wayne kept on, that he was going to say, just around the bend.
Like he always says.
Couple more miles.
2 more miles.
Then it's like 11 more miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Canoe journey is different to a lot of people, truthfully. I mean, each canoe family has their own way of explaining it, I suppose. I've heard so many different stories of like how canoe journeys like change people's lives from like grounding people who are like so caught up in like that just fast-paced life of just living in the cities and urbanized, and then you get them out in the canoe, like when you paddle, like it's like one step closer to your ancestors and all that, like how they used to travel and trade and live life.
Like he said, it's different for a lot of people, but for the Coast Salish tribes, any of the tribes that lived on the rivers and all along the Sound, the canoe was an essential part of their life. It was their only real mode of transportation besides walking. It was what they used to hunt, to fish, to gather, to transport from village to village, to even traveling farther distances to trade and barter.
I started practice in April. Every weekend it was available. I mean, that's just canoe practice. We gotta practice our songs and get our dances back down and practice so we're good at it.
It's a pretty long process, and we have to cover everything from like ground crew. We have to figure out like who's interested in doing that, who's interested in being like the pullers, and it just involves a whole bunch of work.
It was nice having all the old veterans back, like when they were there, like it was definitely nice. And then like loading the canoe, I always want to get the seasoned people in there and put like people for the first times in there. And then you start telling when they're like the newer ones are like wearing down, and call support boat over and try switching them out. And I thought we were only going to have like a skeleton crew this year, but it turned out a lot better than that, so thankful for that.
Part of being a skipper or taking care of the crew in the canoe is knowing each person's physical strength and being able to be like, hey, you don't need to push yourself that far, like you're going to exert yourself, you take a break, switch out, that's why the support boat's really necessary. It's just support for our crew, safety, in case anything was to happen.
The biggest thing for me is keeping a sonar next to us so that I know like where we're at the whole time, instead of just going out there blind. And there's canoes that still go out there blind, but their support boats, they always support like other canoes. It's not just our canoe. They come in, like the whole reason they come in, they do a circle is to show the hosting tribe or the village that you come into, that show that you have like no weapons, you mean like no harms. They can see everybody in the canoe. Then you come in with your bow in, but you don't ever touch the shore, because if you touch the shore, it's just disrespectful anyways. They're like, you don't want to touch their land until you ask permission to come ashore, all that. And then when they do ask you permission, you always back the canoe out, and you always bring it in with the back of your canoe to the stern with your skipper facing out towards the water, but the stern coming in first, the back of your canoe. It proves to them that you're coming in like with no bad intentions. You face your back to them and not have a problem, pretty much.
So when it comes to the ground crew, we all have to support each other. So like if there's elders that are part of that ground crew, we assist with getting their tents set up first. That way they can be out of the sun, or getting the canopies up with chairs set up. That way they'll have some shade. And then going from there, then with all the children, we want to make sure that they're occupied as well. And so sometimes like elders would share stories or share songs and talk about how things were in the past. And that'll keep them occupied for a bit. But then also we like to keep the kids busy by having them assist with setting up camp, because it's a good learning experience and everyone should know how to put together a tent. But oh my gosh, the kids are great. Like, they love helping set up the tents, and they really help get the job done. They're amazing. So
Practice. Practice.
Well, yeah, you're honoring your people and your ancestors when you're carrying out songs or stories or traditions. Anything that you do, it's the way that they did it. You're honoring them as well as the elders and everybody that's around you. And then like the hosting tribes of people that you're going to stand in front of, you're showing your respect when everybody works together and they're all prepared and look good. That's giving respect and sharing that medicine with the other tribes.
So prepping and basically observing, preparing, and being a part of final protocol, it definitely was an eye-opening experience. Because, it's one thing to watch other tribes, but it's another when you're actually like being a part of that sharing aspect and being able to show like who you are and where you're from. Once we were out there on those sacred grounds, it was truly amazing. No matter how tired you were, being out there was so energizing, and it was so fulfilling and so healing. That's basically what I took away from it. Like, I definitely felt just like a new person, and so much of the burdens that I had carried had been released with being out there on those grounds and being able to share our songs.
Hold